The role of the solutions architect was one that was a bit more technical, I'd say, in focus than that of the solutions advisor. The solutions advisor was more interested in more like a high-level analysis of the problem. The solutions architect really delved down deeper into the type of network architecture and trying to verify whether that was the most robust solution to give to the customer. Now, the network architect dealt mostly with engineers from the customer, whereas the solution advisor dealt more with the marketeers, so to speak. And often these two departments wouldn't really be talking internally in the operator. So it was pretty much the job of the network and system solutions team to go in and say, well, marketeers, start talking to your engineers and start making sure that your solution actually matches its problem specification. And the role of the solutions architect was to know Nortel Networks' products inside out. And with product specialists in the organization and the account team, they'd think of some kind of product strategy to put forward for that particular tender. Were we selling optical, for example, or wireless solutions or telephony solutions? Now, a lot of the roles that the network architect had to put under their belt was to know about changes in standards, so to speak, and changes in protocols and what these protocols meant to offering an end-to-end service. And they'd have to measure the quality of service. The customer didn't actually want some kind of solution which didn't meet their quality of service requirements. After all, Telstra has customers out there that want to be served 100% of the time. So if the solutions architect got their job wrong, pretty much we'd be selling a solution that wasn't robust and wouldn't be serving its purpose, and that's not what you want to do. The network architect was also involved in things like codecs and signaling and multiplexing and knowing what the competitive environment was all about. I mean, let's put it this way. Nortel had Cisco and Lucent and Alcatel at their edge, and pretty much were trying to be first movers in new space, like new internet spaces, for instance. So we needed to make sure that our products were differentiated to the extent that they could offer unique services that our competitors couldn't offer. And we had to put these kinds of nuggets in the solutions architecture to ensure that Nortel would have the competitive edge. Now, the second step of sort of the network architect's role was actually conduct some network modeling. This was taking the basic logical architecture and looking at whether our, for instance, nodes were centralized or decentralized, whether we'd introduce large switches as opposed to small switches, and then modeling the traffic. Now, when I'm talking about traffic, I'm talking about phone types of traffic, where you're calling on the phone and trying to look at, patterns of one customer to the other. And I'm talking about traffic in terms of data traffic. When do most people make their email messages be sent? And when are they downloading mostly from home? And when are they uploading or doing backup storage type of activities? And you'd be measuring that in the actual network model, trying to look at, okay, where are the patterns coming from? Where are those nodes? Where are they homing back to? And looking at if that was really the most optimal solution to give to the customer. Now, the network modeling aspect would bring up things like whether your products were at capacity or whether you had to leave more spare capacity in the network, whether your e-business solutions were chewing up too much bandwidth or not enough, and just ensuring that you had the right balance. After all, one of the reasons the dot-com crash happened was because solutions advisors and architects were building architectures and networks that had too much capacity in the network. So we had customers that weren't doing very much with the fiber that had been sold, for example, particularly in the United States. So the role of the solutions architect was to do network architecture and verification and modeling, and the output of that kind of role was actually something that we call a bill of materials. The bill of materials was that page of information that the customer wanted to see at the closure of a tender response, and to say, okay, the network is composed of A, B, C, D at the access level, at the edge level, at the core level, and they wanted to know how much does it cost and how much capital are we really investing in this thing. So the outcome of the interdependent steps between the solutions advisor and the solutions architect was this one pager saying, okay, customer, these are the line items that you have to pay for in terms of products. This is what they do, and this is how much they cost. Are you going to go for us, or are you going to go for one of our competitors?